Hey, my name's Fraser, and in this video we're going to have a go at building our own devices for visualizing waves. I'm going to show you how you can build 3 different devices for visualizing waves and wave interference to help us understand how quantum computers use both constructive and destructive interference to help them calculate so quickly. So let's start off with project number 1, and that involves a Slinky. Slinkies are essentially a huge metal spring, and they offer a great way of showing how a wave can move through it. As I activate it from one side, you can see the wave moving through the spring. But what about if I activate it at both sides? Do you see how it interferes in the middle there? Try this out yourself and see how you can create different waves by activating it and moving it around in different ways. Another way of visualizing waves is with a transverse candy waveform, and for this we're going to need a few bits of candy. Now when I say a few bits of candy, I mean about 60, and you're going to need 30 skewers as well. Once you've counted out all of your skewers, you want to begin by placing your candy at the end of each skewer, just like so. And after a while you'll end up with 30 of them. Check it out. With all of your skewers made, lay out about 1.5 meters of tape and place your skewers at about 5 centimetre intervals. Then lay another strip of tape across the top. Now position your tape between 2 chairs and see what happens when you flick it from one end. This is what we call a transverse wave, a wave whose oscillation is perpendicular to the direction of its travel. As you experiment, see what happens when you move the candy's position on the stick, or perhaps take them off altogether. Can you make the wave bigger or smaller? Can you make it travel faster? Try it out and see what happens. Our third and final experiment is with a Chadwick Plate. Now this is an incredible piece of kit that would normally cost hundreds if not thousands of pounds, but we've developed a way that you can make it relatively inexpensively at home. In this experiment, we're going to be vibrating an entire surface. So for that, we're going to need an amplifier that's powerful enough to do it. This one here will plug into anything with a headphone jack. Now we're going to be using a tone generator app later on. So if you could download that onto your device and plug in this, you're all good. Alternatively, you could use something like this, which is a Bluetooth amplifier. This means you don't need to have any cables between your device and your amplifier, meaning when it gets a little bit messy, you don't have to worry about getting any of that mess on your device. The amplifier is going to be driving a vibrating speaker. This one here has 2 wires coming out the end, which is how we connect it to our amplifier board. This is an alternative that you can use that is a bone conducting speaker, meaning it will go into something like a pair of glasses, meaning you can listen to music without having to put anything in your ears. Next, we need the surface that we're going to vibrate. This is a square of cardboard that I've used, but you can use anything that's relatively flat and relatively stiff. The next thing we need is salt, and plenty of it. And the last thing we need is some blue tack, but you could use Play-Doh or anything like that. So let's start to assemble our parts. Here is my Bluetooth amplifier, and the first thing I'm going to do is get my speaker and plug it in. It's important to remember that the red cable goes into the positive terminal and the black cable goes into the negative or ground terminal. With our speaker plugged in, now it's time to add some power. When you do that, the board will turn on and you can then connect it to your device. This device is already paired with my phone, which is what I'm going to use to send the signal to the speaker. Now take your surface and add some blue tack to it so that you can adhere it to the vibrating speaker. So all that's left to do now is add some salt and see what happens. Here I'm using a free tone generator app which allows me to control what frequency I'm sending to the speaker. As the waves travel through the cardboard surface, they bounce off the edges and begin to interfere with one another, both constructively and destructively. This creates areas that move and don't move on the cardboard, which we can then see with the salt, creating these incredible patterns. So there we go, there's all 3 of your wave visualizing devices. Hopefully you feel inspired to have a go at making one or maybe all 3 of them yourself. If you do, make sure you take a picture or a video and share your creation with someone else. My name's been Fraser, thank you for watching. See you later.